78% of suicide rates worldwide are men. What can we do to help them? Stop having unreal expectations and stop making it seem that us having emotions is a bad thing. Be excellent to one another. Their purpose in life has been taken. Their worthiness is gone because of this new thing in our 250,000 years of having the same sized brain. The past 150 years men have had to adapt to this confusing marketplace with money instead of meat. In my imagination, the epigenetical transition should take hold in the next 1,000 years and this hell would be over. But for now, it's extremely sad. Men must be worthy, for themselves. Start treating us/men nicer, and tell us it's okay to be nice to each other, especially other men. Most of us know you're supposed to be nice to women. More completed suicides are by men, not attempts. Men tend towards more immediately lethal methods. Men would benefit from more assertive outreach, destigmatization, more men in social work fields and reduction on the toxic idea of what men need to be and feel in society. No matter what people say, if you're a man and tell someone you're not feeling great, you're looked at as weak. Changing everyone's view on mental health is where to start. And those rates are higher for men living in rural areas compared to urban areas. I'm going to repeat a few hundred points in saying that emotional repression needs to be tackled. Stop being dicks to each other. The world is tough enough by itself. Be social and encourage others as well. It may be uncomfortable striking up a conversation with random people, but who knows what it might accomplish. Who knows what it might mean to that dude? Quit trolling just because you can hide behind your anonymity. Be a friend to everyone. We need to close the suicide gap. This seems like female privilege to me. Maybe not piss on any attempt or movement geared towards leveling out the disparity between men and women's mental health and actually welcome programs that push men towards female-dominated fields. We're not all rich, privileged assholes. Stop believing we are made of steel. Many of us have zero support system, and it's not cool when a female tells us that we are being too emotional or you have the emotions of a woman. I've had a colleague say this and I stopped thinking of her the same way. It really hurt to know that a man is unable to have emotion or pain. I struggle with depression every day and I'd love more than nothing but to be dead, so stop treating us like I'm made of metal. Secondly, there are dark places on the web that I've witnessed women taking joy in seeing men suffer. There are groups and people on Whisper who taunt men who are depressed. It's sickening. Stop putting so much pressure on them to just take whatever is thrown at them without breaking a sweat, and to man up. Life is fucking brutal and can wear even the hardest of people down to tiny nubs. Try to reduce the traditional masculine gender norms. Important to note that the report that statistic comes from also states the majority of suicide attempts are by women. Bottom line. Destigmatize mental health, provide options and opportunities to get mental health, and make it so it doesn't cost a leg to get mental health. Tell 'em dying is gay. I think friendship or a lack thereof is our biggest problem. Once I reached a certain age and sort of outgrew and lost contact with childhood and high school pals, I found it very difficult to make new adult male friends. Part of the problem, I think for sure, is the fact that when we meet new guys we are afraid to add them to the group because, especially if it's single dudes, we see them as competition. Stop saying that there is so-effing fundamentally wrong with their biology and start looking at the problem with a more proactive way, aka, start looking at how men are expected to be working powerhouses devoid of any emotions. We teach men that the only emotion they can share is anger. Women promotes that kind of behavior by being attracted to manly behavior. No wonder bad things happen, it's not something men have to work on. Paradoxically, I would empower women. We as men are set to compete, we don't afford ourselves to fail, we need to provide for those delicate flowers, women. We don't like to be challenged by women, and see them as weak. On the other hand, we don't allow ourselves to develop tools to cope with frustration. So if things go south, suicide is the extreme way to cope with failure. If we recognize women as equals, we win a partner to share and help us grow without this self-imposed do-or-die mentality. I can honestly say that I truly believe if people were more open to men having real emotions, things wouldn't get bottled up to the point of catastrophic failure. If you see a man crying, he is not being weak. He is being a human, feeling a very natural emotion, whether it is happy, sad, or angry. To come down on him and call him weak for being human is destroying the human perspective, and when someone no longer feels human, that's when shit goes downhill very quickly. Increased mental health services everywhere. No one should have to pay $200 out of pocket or have to wait 3 months for a therapist's appointment. End capitalism. Like most replies here, give us compliments. Men don't really get then that much. A single compliment can mean so much to us. Acknowledge that there's actually a problem. Lost my dad that way. I should have asked him more open-ended questions like, how can I help you? Instead of, is there anything I can do to help? Because most people, especially men, will say no. I would have sat with him and said, how are you doing with your depression? Are you feeling like ending your life? Sad thing is, he would have been honest. What can we do to help? Pay better attention. Take the time to ask direct questions. Listen to them, let them know that it's okay to have emotions and that they don't have to be a man or keep their feelings to themselves. By giving everyone access to safe assisted suicides so they don't have to do it in morbid ways or butchers, and also not feel like they are stuck here. Change the whole world culture that just like you were brought into this world, you can check out safely and comfortably if shit doesn't work out. I bet most would want to stay then. Stop assuming that all men are evil and that men can suffer under depression just as much as women. There needs to be more awareness for issues like this. There needs to be more men's support groups in the workplace and on university campuses to increase awareness on this issue. This needs to be done without radical left-leaning student unions and public institutions making a big issue out of it and saying it is anti-women. Checking in, friend, how are you? Help them kill themselves? I know people who have seemed treatment like they were told to, only to find out their insurance won't cover it and they get seen anyway, and then they receive huge medical bills for thousands of dollars, which does not help with the suicidal feelings at all. There should be a public fund or program for people with suicidal feelings to be seen in person and seek help without the threat of being turned away or given a huge bill. Also, it is often a very sudden feeling and they can't be told come back in 2 or 3 months when we have an appointment available. Open up brothels. Raise awareness to self-improvement and motivational videos. It's the hard times and times of self-doubt that, when pushed through, will have the most positive effect in not just a man's life, but a woman's too. No pain, no gain, right? It's not just a saying that applies to physical well-being, but it is also mental and emotional pains that better us. Pain plus reflection equals success. Ray Dalio. Validate their emotions. As a man, start engaging meaningfully. Talk and share even if it feels awkward. When's the last time you asked a guy friend how did that feel? Most ladies can actually answer that question in a coherent manner. We need to get there. Knowing is half the battle, or something like that. Let them know it's not a sign of weakness to ask for help or see a counselor for depression. Get rid of toxic masculinity and their unrealistic expectations of men. Not punishing them for trying to fulfill the ideal image of a man. Not all men are extroverted, not all of them are confident, and having and expressing feelings is normal for any human. Big on feminists. Give more easy access to resources for people in need. If you really want to help, invest into a less corrupt system. Relatively unpopular opinion, but look at the stats. In the US, reducing gun ownership is likely the easiest way to reduce suicides amongst men. And to the argument that people will just find another way to commit suicide, that's not the current belief amongst experts. Suicide is not a static binary. The current literature believes that there is a window of opportunity when suicide is possible, which is why simple lethal low-barrier options like guns are so dangerous when it comes to suicide prevention. It's not really that men are more likely to want/try to commit suicide than women. It's more that men are more likely to use guns which have such a high success rate versus using pills, most common option amongst women, which have a much lower success rate.